All right. So make sure you grab a marker or a pen, right? Don't use a pencil, just and be honest, right? You were actually at AC yesterday's AC. A lot of you struggled with the word problems, right? And that's right now it's still okay, right? As long as you put in effort and you improve. Okay, so I'm going to give you the first page. I'm kind of just gonna give you the answer. I feel like I don't want to spend too much time on that, right? So for the first one, you're supposed to find angle F, right, to get that invisible pair. So you get a mark for the 77, and then you get a mark for setup and a mark for correct final answer. And make sure your units are there, right? And then for B, you're supposed to use cosine law because you have all three sides, and you're asked to find that angle, and you got to make sure that's over here, right? You end up with a negative, right? This will give you a negative ratio, which will give us an obtuse angle. So here I want to emphasize notation, right? So if you go cosine of x is this and then come up with that, this is actually all correct. This is consistent. But once you start just having x here on this side, you have to have cosine inverse on the other. You can have that as a decimal. You can keep it as a fraction. It's really up to you. And then that's your final answer. So I give you 1 mark for setup and 1 mark for the correct final answer. So we have our 2 marks there. Let's move on to the quick. These are all worth 1. So for the first one, for A, you start with a dashed line, which is north, and then you turn 65 degrees east. The second one, we start with our dashed line, which is west, so we turn 18 degrees south. This next one, we start with our dashed line here, and we turn 21 degrees east. So 1 mark for each. Anybody have questions about that? Because yes, all of them can be stated a different way, right? So technically you can find this and then go south and then as many degrees west, but I think that's too much work. And then here you're supposed to draw them. So right, you start north and you turn 25 degrees west. So you have the arrow should be pointing that way and the 25 degrees should be there specifically. Okay, it's either all or nothing. There is no like, oh, I kind of got it. And then next is west. You start west and then you turn 55 degrees south. So that's the other one, and this one is south, turn 71 west. A lot of west, very little east going on here. But hey, you can expect the unexpected. Yeah. Arrowhead, that's without arrowhead, that's fine. Yeah, as long as the angle and the line is there, and the rest is okay. I'm used to vectors. Backside. Maybe for the first one here, I will also give you the key. And I try to be specific, even like where they are, right? So there's diver 1, diver 2. They each have an angle of depression. The shark is kind of in between them, not halfway. Okay, it's obvious that it's not because these angles are different. And then the 25 has to be in between. And I just did X and Y because when I worked with this one, I wanted the letters. So if you put the letters where, clearly identify them, you don't have to, say it or have a statement. I'm fine with that. If you have somebody else in grade 12, you might have a teacher that's really picky on statement as your final answer. Make sure you adapt to that, okay? Don't say, oh, Mr. Dixon wasn't so keen on that, right? Like, that's just my style. I feel like it's a lot of time to mention something that's very obvious as long as you indicate, right, what the answer is. So for this one, you need to find S, which is 94. You get a mark for that one if the 94 shows up anywhere. And then I solve for Y first. So I have the 47, right? That 47 is across the side Y. That has to be consistent. And so 1833 is the one, and the other one is 1577, if you did that correctly. Watch out for isosceles triangles. Sometimes you get an isosceles, you might think you're stuck, but if it's an isosceles, it's actually a lot easier, okay? So watch out for that, they're coming. So just, I don't have time to do everything. Next, how far below the divers is the shark? I gave you the hint and everything, right? You're welcome, right? So it's basically, right, you're finding that height. It's an upside down triangle, but it's still like this would be considered the height, right? The depth in this case. So I just go x times sine of 47, right? I take this side times sine of that angle, or you could go y times sine of 39. Either way, you should get 1153. That's just a one marker. You're probably wondering, what about this one, Mr. Dirksen? I'll give you one for this and one for that, okay? Just one mark for each answer there. Okay. Next, no solving for Mr. Dirksen's path there. It's just 4. Question 4, all you need to do is put the numbers where they belong. So I kind of like training you a little bit. So leaves, right, starts north, 23 west. So that should be in here. How many marks am I giving you? Okay, let me see. I'll work this out first. For 5.6 kilometers. Okay, and then west turns in direction west, 43 south. So west, 43 south. Okay, so dun dun, and then the 2.4 goes here. So we've got everything we need. Okay, so this part right here, I would just give you one mark for filling in everything correctly. So that'll be one mark if you have everything done correctly, everything, nothing missing. Okay. Now I'm going to transfer stuff over. Okay. So I know this one is 2.4. This is 5.6. Let's make sure it's in kilometers. And I need an angle. So this 23, right, comes over and will be plotted here. 23 here. 23 right there. But you don't get a mark just yet. Oh, you have a question? Okay. And you might think you're stuck, right? It's like, how am I going to do this? There's a 90 here, right? So there is a way to get this as well. Okay. So I'm kind of going to do this here. This is 23 and this is to be determined. So I just go 90 minus 43, right? To get that inside there. And that's 47, right? 47 there. And so the 47 comes in here, right? Because I want both of these chunks to add them up. So the whole thing is 70. What? Right. How did you do that? I wish I could zoom in. I like actually make this bigger, but just in case you missed what's happening here, there's this 90 right here. Okay, so if I have, let's use this one. If I have this, right, then I just need to take that away from 90 to get the inside there. What should I use? Blue? Hope this is not gonna make things worse. Okay, I will hand this back to you. Right? So the blue is what I just found there. I should make it mandatory to highlight. Right? Just make it mandatory. Okay. So 47 kind of, that's how I got it. Okay. Ben, do you have a question or just stretching? Stretching? Okay. I should have done that more to teachers. Just done a bunch of stretches every once in a while just to throw them off. Anyways, so there's that. So if you get this 70 here, um, I would give you half a mark for coming up with a 47, and then half a mark for the 70 there, and then a full mark for actually transferring everything correctly over to this triangle. So 1 mark for filling this in, half a mark for the 47, half a mark for the 70, 1 mark for just filling everything in correctly. So this is what I call interpreting, and then you're actually coming up with your triangle. Yes?
What if instead of you moving the 23 up there to get to 70, you instead use the 23 to make a triangle with 180 minus 90 minus 23 to get
This.
67?
Okay. Francis, why do you gotta go there?
That's what I saw.
Okay. See, I totally see what you're trying to do here. So Francis, no, it's good. I'm just joking when I do that. Yeah, he saw that one. He saw the nine. He imagined this triangle here. So you went 180 minus 90 minus 23, and you got this, right? This one here. Yeah. And so then Francis saw, see, I can tell what you're thinking. So it's gotta watch out. 180, right? Minus this, minus the, what did you get here? 67, right? So then you still got 70 though, right? Yeah. So just be creative. Be creative. Yeah. Yeah.
What if we forgot to put the 47 and 23 in the other triangle?
Here? Oh, that's okay. As long as the 70 shows up, you're good. Yeah. I'm overdoing it a little bit. These are fun, guys. If you just no, honestly, after a while, you'll feel like, oh yeah, I kind of now I get it. Right? And then sometimes you'll be frustrated because you thought you got it and you missed the boat a little bit, right? So you got to watch out. So 3 marks for that. Let's go on to the last one, which is a full-blown compass direction, no guidance whatsoever. Okay, so this is where you really your true colors will show. Okay, so here we go. This will probably be it. I will take it in and I will give it back to you tomorrow. So if you want to add, go to town. Okay. So this is my example for today. A plane leaves the airport and travels this distance south 30 east. So I'm just gonna go here, south 30 east, right? So I'm going this direction. I'm gonna make sure the 30 shows up, okay? Right there, for 230.4 kilometers. Lands and picks up some passengers. This is my start, and then picks up passengers, then flies. So from here, I understand that I'm changing direction, right? And it's north 42 east. North 42 east. For 450 kilometers, I'm just going to overdo it like that. And I will put the angle where it belongs. Oh, hold on. Wrong angle, Mr. Dirksen. It's this one. North 42. It's very important. 42 goes in there. Okay. And then I close my triangle here. You don't have to at this point, but so this is where this is airport, right? I will just say turn. This is where a turn happens, and this is the end. Okay. Sorry, what happened there? And final destination. So sketch and label. So what I suggest, okay, and I suggest it because this is a little messy. I kind of make a new one right beside it. And this doesn't look at it like it, so I'm just going to do one more here. So right, then you go start, turn, and. Doesn't have to be pretty, but there's a very clearly labeled, right? So this is 230.4 kilometers. And this is actually a case where the 30 just comes in here, right? The 30 comes in there. So it's 30 and 42. What are we talking? 72. There we go. So if you have this final here with angle and sides all labeled, you would get 2 marks. Especially that 72 is worth a full mark. So if you miss that 72, you can get only a maximum of 1 out of 2. Okay. Sometimes this mistake causes you to do a lot less work, and so then it will cost you more. Oh, I did the sketching another triangle without a compass rose here, but that's okay. Then calculate how far the airport is from the final destination. So this is what we're looking at here. So x squared is equal to 230.4 squared plus 450. So this is the easiest part, right? Like once you know what is happening, this doesn't look like a 2 at all there. The rest is not too bad. Watch for obtuse angles, not a big deal, but just watch for them. And I will quickly minus 2 times 230.4 times 450.1 times cos of 72. That's 191,582.1665. Taking the square root of that is 437.70 kilometers. So you get, sorry, I kind of got it wrong. You would get 2 marks for this one original, but the 72 has to be in there. And then you get 1 mark for the clean version. And then you get 1 mark for showing that it's cosine law, 1 mark for the step in between, and sorry, never mind. It's 1 mark for cosine law and 1 mark for final answer, because this here is the 3rd mark for this part right here. So 2, 1, 1, 1, right? So we are at 3 and 2 is 5. 5 and 8 and 4. So this is, anybody add this up already? 1, 2, 5, 8, 10, 13. The back side is 13. Sorry, guys. And the front side is 5 and 6, 11. The front is 11. So 13 and 11, 24. And pass it forward before you leave, okay? Your homework. Trig review B. Trig review B. But there's also textbook. If you want compass only, this is the textbook. I selected all the compass direction questions.